Hi, welcome back to Drive North. My name is Matt, and a little recap of our channel here. We are a family from Fridley, Minnesota. We are part-time RVers. We do have a plan to go full-time, but in the meantime, we're on a mission to camp or visit all of Minnesota's 67 state parks, and we also explore surrounding RV resorts and take the occasional trip down south as well. In addition, we started our own little rental business. Last summer, we started renting out our 2018 Heartland Mallard M185 bunkhouse. Went pretty well, so over the winter we talked about it and we bought a second camper, a 2020 Grand Design 2400 BH. Started renting out that as well. It's been going pretty well, so I started a little series here on is it worth it to rent out your RV. At the end of every month we do a little recap and talk about the good, bad, the ugly, and also about how much money we're making. Things got a little busy, so I didn't do a September update, so this is going to be a combined September-October update video. So here are some of the new things that we've done over the last couple of months. A lot of little things, little additions that we've done to the camper. One thing that I did is I actually went in and printed out step-by-step directions on how to empty the sewer tanks. This has been an ongoing issue that we've had with renters. You know, it's hard to blame people. You throw so much at them during the walkthrough. A lot of these people have never rented an RV before, or if they have, they haven't use sewer systems. So I printed out step-by-step instructions, laminated them, and then taped them right on the side of the campers, right above the sewer hoses. And so far it's helped. I mean, we're still having the occasional person bring back the camper with some stuff in the holding tanks, but overall I think it's getting better because we did that. Another thing we did is kind of a housekeeping thing. We have, there's so many supplies and different tools and different things that you accumulate with this RV rental business. We dedicated a storage cabinet in our garage, so everything is in the same place. Just nice and easy to get to, clean, organized. It just makes setting up and cleaning the camper all that much easier at the beginning and end of every rental. We bought some toilet bowl cleaners. That was when we get to the issues here. People are just not very good at cleaning the bathroom, and some people are cleaning right from the campground and then come into your house, and I suppose it's hard to clean the inside of the toilet bowl if you don't have a toilet bowl cleaner. So we bought a toilet bowl brush for each camper. They're highly rated on Amazon. You can stick them right to the wall inside the bathroom, and hopefully that will help people get the camper cleaned up like it's supposed to be. We bought some handles for the screen doors just to give it a designated place to grab onto to open and shut the screen door, because like I mentioned in my last video, we're getting a lot of broken screens that we have to fix over and over again. I think I fixed the door on our Mallard 3 different times. Along with that, I bought a Defender screen protector. Bought this on Amazon. This model here is for Lippert doors only, so it fits on our Grand Design, but I wasn't able to get one for our Mallard because, like I said, it was designed specifically for that brand of doors. They do make a generic one that I want to try out for the Mallard, but it was not cheap. I think it was $60, $70, but it's very well made, very sturdy, and is going to prevent our screen from getting broken up every other trip. As far as issues over September and October, nothing major. We did have one renter get a flat tire while he was out on the road, and our renters do go out with Roadside Assistance, whether it's RV Share or Outdoorsy. We have not had anybody that has had to use it, but we have heard from our Facebook owners groups and whatnot that these roadside assistance companies through these rental organizations are not that good. And they make it really hard to find out how to use them too. We had this renter call, say they had a flat tire, and for the life of us, we had a really hard time finding the number for the roadside assistance. Now the renter should have that before they go out, but again, you throw so much at them, they have so much going on that in this case, he didn't have the number. We finally got it figured out, but by the time it would have taken for the roadside assistance people to come out, he decided to just change the tire on his own. So it worked out. Again, no money out of our pocket, really no money out of his pocket, because the camper comes with a full-size spare. He changed it out, and then when he got home, I obviously had to take the tire off, bring it in, and it turned out that all it needed was a small plug. Repaired it, it's been fine ever since. Another thing, sheets. We're kind of going back and forth on what to do with bedding, what we provide with the campers. Putting new sheets on, especially with bunks, is getting kind of old. And we've noticed that even though we provide just one bottom sheet, and then if somebody wants full bedding, you know, blankets, pillows, we do charge an extra $10 a bed for that. Hardly anybody takes us up on that. I think we only had 2 people all season that actually rented out bedding. And we noticed too, a lot of people, even though we provide a bottom sheet, a lot of people are taking them off. They're using their own sheets, or they're putting their own sheet on our sheet. I don't know if that's because of COVID or just people like having their own linens. But since that's the case, and it's such a pain in the butt to wash these linens over and over again and put them on the mattresses, we're really thinking next year we might not provide sheets at all, or have everything be an add-on. And I don't think that's going to hurt rentals. I don't think anybody's not going to rent their camper because we're not providing a sheet. Another issue we're having, this is, I mean, kind of an ongoing issue, is people bringing back the camper with tanks that are not empty. And we do charge $30 if they do that. A lot of times we're just too nice. We don't always do that. But going forward, I think we're going to be a little stricter in doing that. Because if somebody brings back the camper and tanks are not completely empty, I do have to hook it up to my truck, and then I got to bring it into a place, get it done. It takes a lot of time and effort out of my day to do that. So we're going forward, I think we're going to be a little more strict with our tank policy. Another issue we've had, we did have somebody show up with a vehicle that only had a 4-pin. They were renting out our Mallard. They had an SUV, did not have a factory towing package, and kind of came into a situation where, what do? Their vehicle is not properly set up to haul our camper. What they ended up doing is they had to leave and then borrow a family member's truck, but because of that, they weren't able to pick up the camper the same day they rented it out. We worked with them. It was a 7-day rental, and we let them take a day off the rental to get time to get that truck. You know, it's hard because we do want to be really good going forward, triple checking to make sure people have the right setup. Even though I do have in our ad very clearly that you do have to have a 7-pin connection on your vehicle, and we give everybody an instructional video too, and in the instructional video I do say again you need a 7-pin connection, and I even show what that 7-pin connection looks like. But even with all of that, you know, it did happen. Going forward, hopefully that won't happen again. So those are some of the issues that we've had. Nothing big, nothing major, but just to throw it out there. As far as some interesting things that we've had with rentals and renters, it's always fun to see where people are going, what they're using your RVs for. I thought it was kind of fun. We had a family, the husband had signed up for the Rollerblade Marathon. It's this marathon, obviously you do it on rollerblades, but it goes from 2 harbors into Duluth. They've been holding it every year for years. Due to COVID, they canceled it, but they encouraged people to do it on their own if they could. So this family still went up and they stayed at a campground up in 2 harbors, and the dad did his Rollerblade Marathon on his own. And I think he had his kids on the bikes supporting him and cheering him on. That was kind of fun. We got a renter coming up in a couple weeks here. They're going to be taking our Grand Design out to Michigan to pick up a new puppy. That'll be kind of fun to see that and be introduced to their new dog when they get back. Another thing is, and I might get some flack for this, but we are going to let somebody rent next summer off the RV Share Outdoorsy platforms. And normally I would never even consider doing this, and I wouldn't recommend doing this. However, we had a couple that rented out our Mallard last summer, and they were great people. They took really good care of our equipment, our camper, and they have a lot of experience. So based on that, knowing what their experience is and knowing that they were above and beyond great renters, they called asking if they could do this. And I don't blame them, because Outdoorsy and RV Share, they do add a lot of extra fees. Their insurance isn't cheap. So I think we're gonna do it. Now, we are going to write up our own agreements, obviously, and we are gonna require them to get their own insurance binder and then provide it to us so we can verify it. And we're gonna have them do a security deposit. So we should be covered. Oh, also, in addition, going into next year, as far as things we're gonna be doing new as well, I'm going to establish an LLC. It's something I've been thinking about doing for a while. I'm going to pull the trigger and do that. And yeah, we're going to see how it goes. And, you know, if somebody else reached out and wanted to do this, I would consider it on a case-by-case basis. We've had a lot of renters that have been very good renters that I would be okay doing this. We've had some renters that I'd probably say, no, let's stick to the platform. And if somebody contacted me that's never rented before, I would absolutely say, nope, won't even consider it. Another interesting thing is repeat customers. Now, not almost every, but I would say the majority of people that rent always say they had a great time and we're definitely going to do this again. And I just wonder how many people are just being nice and how many people really are going to rent again. So going forward into next summer, it'll be interesting to see how many repeat customers we get. And occasionally, if we get a really good customer, I'll tell them, hey, if you come back, 10% off. So one repeat customer for next season. Hopefully we'll get more. And speaking of next season, we are getting some inquiries already, and we just had somebody book for a whole week for next July. Kind of fun to see the rentals come in this early already. All right, so that's kind of some of the new things we've been doing, some of the issues we've had, and some of the interesting things with our rentals. Now let's go in and check out what our calendar looks like, and also we'll go over our spreadsheet and I'll share with you how much money we're making. All right, this is what our calendar looks like. I'm doing it a little different this month. In the past, we were able to see both rigs on one calendar, and that's because we used Outdoorsy's online calendar and they let us do that. They've since changed their setup and they only do one rig at a time per month. So long story short, we're going to be doing it rig by rig, month by month. Next year, I'm going to utilize probably an Outlook calendar so everything can be easier to see on one page. This year, we've been using Outdoorsy online calendar as well as a paper calendar, but anyways, September here, as you can see, not a bad month. You know, it's Minnesota. Season does wind down after August, but people still like to do their fall camping, as you can see. Our mallard was rented out for a total of 20 days in September and sat for 11 days. You can see pretty much every weekend that thing was out. All right, looking at the month of October, again for our mallard, you know, not as many rentals. It starts to get kind of cold up here. Even in October, we had a decent snowstorm in the middle of the month here, but still in October, we had 10 rentals and it sat for 21 days. This will be our Grand Design in September. Our Grand Design was rented out for 15 days. It sat unrented for 10 days. And we used it for a stretch of 5 days. Our trip actually would have been here on the 12th to the 16th. Our Grand Design in October actually had a decent month for this late into the season. It sat for a total of 11 days. It was rented out for 17 days, and we used it for one weekend here towards the end. So that's what our calendar looks like. We do have, I think we only have one rental on the books for November. I took the Grand Design off the market, like I mentioned already at the end of October, but we do have a hunter taking our mallard out in the middle of the month. All right, now let's go take a look at our spreadsheet and look at some numbers. Okay, looking at our spreadsheet here, I'll go over how it's laid out first. Column A is all the months of the year, obviously. And then I have each RV in here listed twice. So I have the mallard to show all RV income, mallard to show all Outdoorsy income, and then the Grand Design Imagine also in here twice to show income from both companies. Gross income will be all the money we took in after RV Share and Outdoorsy took in their cut. Payments and insurance. I did this spreadsheet a little different than previous months. So for this column, I just have payments and insurance. It went up this month because that's when we added our second rig. And then for expenses, now I don't have in here startup expenses. So I don't have here things that you would buy if you were gonna use the camper just for personal use, your sewer connections, tire chocks, that kind of thing. This is just expenses that I would not have had if I weren't renting out my camper. So extra propane, if a part broke that I had to fix, I did put in here servicing the wheel bearings, that sort of thing. And then net income is obviously you take your gross minus your payments, your insurance, your expenses, you come up with net income. All right, so let's take a look at September here. You can see our V share, or I'm sorry, the Mallard through our V share brought in $985 in September and $450 in October. The Mallard through Outdoorsy, we did not have any Outdoorsy rentals for the Mallard in September, but we did have $305 in October. Kind of interesting here, our Grand Design Imagine did not get rented out through RV Share for the months of September or October. All our rentals were through Outdoorsy. So you can see in September we brought in $867 and in October $1591. So this shows for September again, our gross income was $1852 after payment and insurance, after expenses. We came up with a net income of $1403. For October, our gross was $2346 after payments, insurance, expenses. We netted $1871. So you can go down, kind of interesting here, I'll show you. I tallied up these columns here so you can see kind of a snapshot of what platform and what rig is giving us the best bang for the buck. It's interesting here. So our Mallard through our V Share and Outdoorsy, pretty equal income there. But if you go to our Grand Design Imagine, the bulk of our income came through Outdoorsy versus our V Share. Now, the Grand Design is a more expensive camper to rent. I don't know if that's a factor in why Outdoorsy is being used more versus RV Share. I have no idea. Could just be coincidence. But all in all, both platforms were pretty lucrative and effective. All right, so now let's go over some year-end numbers so far. On a side note, looking ahead, we have one rental on the books in November. That's going to be bumped up to about $350. I'll do that as a year-end video. Going to be covering some other things in that as well. But so our gross for the year was $15,449. Our expenses, or I'm sorry, our payment and insurance, I kind of calculated out for the rest of the year as $4,114. We had $786 in extra rental expenses for the year. So our net income for the year was $10,549. And I'm pretty happy with that number. Our goal was a minimum of $5,000, just to cover our basic payments and insurance and possible expenses. High expectations would have been close to 10. So to get over 10,005 or over 10,000, we're going to be at almost 11 for the year. That exceeded our expectations. And it wasn't easy money. It was there was some stress. There was a lot of hours. There was hard work put into this. This was a part-time job, but overall, it was worth it, and we're happy with that number. All right, so that's our September and October update. So far, it's been a solid season. There's been some issues, but we went into this knowing that there'd be issues, and nothing has been a deal breaker that makes us say, oh, we're never doing this again. That being said, I think we are both, my wife and I are both looking forward to this season winding down and just kind of taking a break from it for a while. We do have one rental so far on the books for November. I think that might be a Hunter. And our Grand Design we're taking off the market at the end of October. It's going to go into the dealership for some warranty stuff. I got a video on that coming out, and that's going to go into storage. The Mallard, that's a little easier to maneuver around the home, and I can winterize that in 10-15 minutes. So if we get a situation where it's freezing and then not freezing, I can just blow out the water lines quick and have that available a little later in the season than the Grand Design. So that is our video. Stay tuned. We do have some more videos coming up, some Harvest Host videos. Actually, I'm doing this video in the middle of a Harvest Host trip right now. It's actually kind of a winter camping trip. We got a cold spell going through Minnesota right now. We're kind of camping in the middle of snow at a winery. But lots more to come. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.